I think that's gone live now. We shall see. Welcome to Start Building Me. I'm Dave. I train every night here on Twitch, YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. I'm going to train more at different times in different disciplines over the next few weeks, but I am still fine-tuning my setup. Everything is going according to plan, and the only thing that stopped me training outside today was a massive thunderstorm. And I thought it was pretty annoying to hear the rain, so I didn't bother streaming it. But I just played around with my record feature so I can record the basic stuff that I am going to be using on these streams. So everything is going according to plan. All right, so it looks like I'm not clipping tonight. That's a good start. I am doing squats, so I'm going to start whether anybody's here or not, because I am doing this to explain to people. Ben in the house, always good to see. And so why not start doing the exercises, and I'll talk whilst I'm doing it. Squatting, you're sitting back into your heels with the weight going to the outside of your feet, arms coming out as a counterbalance. 1, 2, wider to keep my back straighter. Should be a very fluid exercise, folks, supporting your body weight under gravity as it is. I put my new steering wheel in the Beetle today. That was cool. And I liked the old retro one with the ivory, but it was too big. And I got the fascia in place for the new cylinder head temperature, oil pressure and oil temperature. But as you know, automotive products have it, totally. They didn't fit properly, so I'm gonna have to custom make my own, so that was pretty cool. Worked today with a video editor who's gonna be doing some stuff for Townsville and Start Building Me. And went for a run this morning, took the dogs for a walk, and then it started to hammer down with rain. So I didn't get my second run in, didn't get the second dog walk in. So I'm ready to do some training now. So as I explained before, and I'm saying it just as much for me as I'm saying it for you folks, because learning the gift of the gab over video has taken me about 2 years, 2.5 years to do. So I started this when I got my dogs, and they're almost 3 at the end of this year. So it's something that doesn't come natural to me at all. Now it's pretty fluid, but at the beginning you just deer at the headlights, you know. It's like you're talking to a box, you're not talking to anyone. You don't care if anyone watches it or not. Literally just recording a method that I'm developing that long after I'm dead, somebody can see the greatness and be like, that dude was right. We've got to exercise every day. What were we thinking? You weren't thinking. That's what was happening. Anyway, I'll stand wider. That feels about right. Opening up my hips, back is relatively straight. My weight is going to the outside of my feet. To make that happen, I've got my feet slightly 45 degrees out like that. So when you do that, find it easier for me to keep my posture that way. It doesn't look very symmetrical on my screen, but it's relatively symmetrical from my perspective here. And take a break. As I'm always saying, don't rep it out. I'm doing it to explain it to people, so you don't have to follow my cadence, you don't have to follow my technique. You might stand closer together instead of wide like me. Maybe you've got good shoulder, back, hip flexibility, so you can stand closer and keep your back perpendicular to the ground, sort of 90 degrees, so you don't do that effectively. And that's why I stand wider as a taller person. I find it easier to keep my back in that positive position with my arms wider. So it feels not too bad. And like I said, shake it out. It's not a race. I've got to take my own advice, folks. Calm blue ocean. Some interesting medical stuff. Ben, I am going for a CT angiogram this week. I've had an angiogram before when I was in hospital in 2013, but I'm having a CT angiogram, so it's just, basically x-rays of my blood vessels in my heart. Because, call it psychosomatic, maybe it is, but when I sneeze recently, it feels like, I know you can tear blood vessels in your heart when you sneeze, but it seriously feels like I'm going to stroke out and have, a heart attack or something, to the point where I really try not to sneeze. And I'm pretty sure that that's not normal. Could just be getting older, but from my doctor Googling, which surgeons absolutely hate, I think it's worth the $600 to go get the CT angiogram. So if I die, folks, keep watching the repeats on the video and keep start building me. You don't need me for that. Not bloody likely, folks. A doctor that I used to work with called me The Walking Dead after the TV show, because he saw me come back so many times from grotesque injuries that he was quite sure I'm immortal now. He was quite sure, I'm certain, folks, so I'm not going anywhere. 1, 2, keep my back straighter. That looks better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shake it out. Got Andor tonight, Star Wars. I can dig it. House of Dragon is so bad, folks, that I was telling Jared the other night, I got to the last episode and was watching the start, and my brain, for some reason, just said, name one character. And I could not name a single character, and I'm like, F all that, and switched it off. It couldn't have been that good if I couldn't remember one character. On the other hand, I was watching Book of Power, Raising Canaan, which is basically a story of 50 Cent, the rapper's life. His mum was a cocaine dealer in the late 80s, early 90s. And the dude's got some stories, it's basically his life that he's retelling as a fiction, but it's pretty wild. And at the end of this episode, they play AC/DC for those who are about to rock, so that was cool. I think that's probably the best TV show that I've been watching recently. And I know I've said it a few times, but if you haven't seen it, check out at least the latest episode of Raising Canaan. It's one of those episodes where you can just sort of check it and groove on it. It was well worth watching. Anyway, let's bust out another 10. This is a good one to do in between squats as well. You sort of keep your feet in the squat position and then just lean to the other side whilst just keeping a little bit of tension there in your legs, so you'll feel a stretch on the inside of your thigh, and that will I should go through a whole bunch of dynamic stretches. So when I was young, a young whippersnapper playing state basketball in Germany, they all said those isometric stretches are mostly pretty useless unless it's like the splits, and I can't remember, but basically the splits, right? And any other thing that you're doing with legs, you should do dynamically. So basically rocking back and forward on the muscle between the tension, sort of the flex and the extension. So never sort of just like holding it out like that. You're finding out the position between where it's tense, like the tension and release, just like music, right? Duality, folks, 1, 0, yin, yang. The sine wave, mate, it's everywhere. And if it isn't, check yourself, suckers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even wider. 7, 8, 9, 10. Got my Theragun out today and was hitting myself with that. That felt really good. I was thinking of all creative buzzwords to give to this video editor today. And as you can see from the background, sunrise, reborn, fresh, the duality again between rising sunset, rising sunrise and sunset to the stars, basically a whole nature theme are the buzzwords with the colors that I gave him. And we tried some of that artificial intelligence art and got some really good results of like a sunrise in the ocean going into the stars in the sky. So hopefully it's cool. He was a very cool dude. Not the guy that posted here last night because I switched off the stream and didn't take his name. Maybe I'll have to go back through the chat logs, but that could be cool. Speak to that dude as well. Anyway, rep out a few more squats. Turn. AI art is awesome. Yeah, for sure, mate. It was the first time I'd seen it. It was cool, just patching some keywords and some variables and some parameters, you know, ranges and stuff. And yeah, I was having a good time doing it. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It was a good consultation. And man, just this gig economy business is hardcore for these young kids, but man, it makes some really determined businessmen. It was really cool. And I just said, look, man, that's a very reasonable quote. I'm not used to that from doing business in corporations. So if it blows over a little bit, don't feel like you're going to be burning me because my budget was a lot more than this. So hopefully I'll be able to help him out as well. But the work he does, video stuff, is really cool. So basically, if he does a good job, sweeping palm, lateral pass off to this guy, and we'll pay him to do it so I don't have to fumble around Adobe Premiere like a total goose. It's exactly the same as like Cubase or whatever, you know. It's just a timeline where you've got different channels and things go in and out like volume faders, you know. But look, man, I just don't care. I couldn't be effed. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. %, man. Yeah, well, that was funny that you say that, because the first experience being really late to the game after our friend Sam has been doing this, I try to not to dox everyone, on doing Afrotech for so long and having like 750,000 subscribers, and you see all the comments in his videos like, hey, I go to Yale, I'm doing electrical engineering, none of this stuff made sense until I watch your videos. It's like, that's pretty high praise. I mean, admittedly, to a dude whose nickname from me since he was 13 was God. So his reputation is, sort of precedes him. But yeah, it's funny. If you're really passionate about something, you can really find this niche, like me, rebuilding yourself from scratch or from injury or whatever. And you've done it enough times and you're enthusiastic about it because you know what you're doing works. And that's how you get that authenticity. If somebody can come up and challenge me on what I'm doing here now, I will absolutely rip out their throat and pull out their soul. Hellraiser style, you know? It's just like they've got no chance. Oh, actually, this doesn't happen. It's like, well, actually it does, because after I crippled myself in hospital and had to relearn to walk, this is how I did it, you know? Like, there's people who have that conceptual understanding and a theoretical understanding, and then the people who have actually applied it. So, like, there's theoretical scientists and applied scientists. Each have their merit, you know what I mean? But it's not that common that some theoretical scientist will go up and start shitting on an applied scientist because they'll always admit, like, oh, this is not my bag, you know? Mate, 100%, all in the same theme is just like, take something simple and do it yourself, basically, is the business, if you could summarize all the stuff we do. Likewise, man, we've got a good trio going on. I'm glad that it's how it worked out, is just through us talking to each other, and then the triangle of terror started. It's really good. And mate, for promotion, video stuff, all that stuff, Sam's a man. Like, he's really, like, he's the gun. I love that site. If you ever want to learn the basics of, let me put it this way. if you were as lazy as I was in year 9 and you didn't pick up much electronics, watch his videos and you'll make a lot more sense of it now. Like, I'm working on my car electronics and it basically makes sense from watching his videos. Like, I've usually been quite a sloppy with electronics. Anyway, do a few more of these, do a few push-ups, then I'm gonna go watch some Star Wars. And yeah, thunderstorm today. It was nice, balmy. Relative humidity was high. I drove my Beetle up last night to get some bananas for protein shakes. And when you're learning to fly, if you're not flying with a fuel-injected plane like a carburetor plane, which most of the general aviation planes are, you learn that when there's high relative humidity and you're high in altitude where it's cold and you cut back the throttle, i.e. you're not putting as much heat through the engine at high relative humidity and it cools down, the Venturi effect that's mixing the air and the fuel mixture will get so cold that it starts to ice and stops the carburetor working. So if you start feeling your carburetor starting to choke up or your engine's struggling, you put the carburetor heat on, and what the carburetor heat does is it closes a flues basically that routes the air, the hot engine air, sort of like how it works in a car, through a vent around the carburetor to melt the ice, and so it works again. So if you're cruising at 13,000 feet and you're starting to descend, so you cut your power and you're starting to, power glide down lower and lower at a low RPM, if your engine, what you do by protocol is you switch on the carburetor heat to make sure that it's sort of keeping the heat around the carburetor so you don't ice up. So I got in my Beetle and it was humid as, like, I walked between the supermarket, which was freezing, and outside, and I tried to start my car and it didn't work. And so I was like, that's weird, and it's fired first time every time. Just gave it a quick boot up the road, sideways, and came back in a car. Was it the car that killed James Dean? A Porsche 356? Anyway, doesn't matter. And I looked at the carburetor and the manifold that it was on, and it was like ice cold, like sort of had ice on it. And I was like, oh no, I know what this is. So I went and talked to the security guard for a while at the shop and came back out after it had thawed out and started up. So carburetor icing, folks, not only something that applies to aviation, something that applies to old VWs or cars with carburetors in the tropics. I wasn't anticipating that, but I was supposed to go and see a Subaru Impreza 2010 with an EJ20 in it, 150 horsepower engine, so it's fuel injected, and so I might do an engine swap for that into the Beetle, which is what I was intending to do anyway, to make a dangerous car even more dangerous, folks. See, that's why I've been in hospital so many times. I've just got amazing ideas like this going through my head. Anyway, I'll do 20 more squats and I'll do some push-ups and let's get out of here. Actually, I'll do 10 more. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go to Gordo's patented crotch cam. Wherever it is, over here. Camera 2. Alrighty. And I've been neglecting push-ups so much, I really like doing it. Yeah, well, hey, patent pending. Don't talk about my ideas. Massive glider wings on the dirt bike would be awesome. That would be nuts. Or a hang glider just strapped to your dirt bike. My motorcycle's a two-stroke, which they call smokers. It's like that ring-a-ding-ding-ding-ding-ding, that really high-pitch ring. 2, 3, 4. Dig your feet in, pinch your butt. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm gonna bust out 100 push-ups before I go. So I'll time it. 20 minutes, 10 minutes on the clock, 10 push-ups every minute. Quite comfortable. So in between, folks, and again, please, You can do one, you can do two, you can do them off your knees, you can even do them at right ankles like I'm showing, where instead of leaning forward like that, you can just dip in with your shoulders. Whatever it is you got, folks, you're just pumping blood through your muscles in your body, and guess what that is? Exercise. How strict you are with the technique and which ones you want to adopt, that comes as your coordination improves, right? You'll find the difference between doing them like at a right angle like that versus a strict push-up is coordination. You'd be able to do it now. Everyone, I always tell this to people, everyone can always do a chin-up, everyone can always do a push-up if they really understood how to apply the technique. It's just, people think they don't have the strength to do it, it's just they don't know how to coordinate their muscle mass. That's the difference. And a big part of it, like I'm saying, don't have super wide arms because you're just loading up your shoulders, stretching your chest and not doing anything else. Spread your fingers, let your body know that you're doing something heavy. Shoulder width, tense your butt, drive your toes into the ground, keep your head up looking and breathe. Really tense that butt. And take a load off. Feels good. I haven't done them for a while, so it feels good to get the blood pumping in again. Now my freezer froze so much that I can't get in it anymore. So I broke up the ice and switch it off and have to let it thaw out a bit, which is a shame, but it would have been nice to sit in the thunderstorm, but probably would have had a heart attack and died. So see how it goes tomorrow, see if I can squeeze into it tomorrow, shoulder to shoulder with the ice blocks. It's really helps you sleep though, folks, and my knees are kind of sore and I haven't been in it the last 2 days, and I reckon if I had been in it, my knees wouldn't be sore. It makes that much of a difference. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And breathe. Think about what you're going to do next. Hopefully you guys, I always used to ask if anyone had learned anything cool new today or what the best part of people's days were. I think it's important to reflect on this sort of stuff. A conversation that I had with said friend Sam about gratitude diaries and the benefits that they have. I sort of have a sobriety diary that I recently started due to a friend of mine that also got sober a couple months back, and it's just sort of got a pledge. And like I said, I owe it to my friends and family to stay sober, because what dawned on me from drug and alcohol abuse is that you're fine, but if it's terrorizing the people that you love, then that's not fine. If it was just me, then sure, I wouldn't care, but that's not the case. When you start freaking out people that are around you that don't necessarily rely on you, but you should want them to feel comfortable with the fact that you're not, a liability, basically, something that's always going to stress them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And folks, instead of doing that, you could go 1, back on your knees, or just on your knees. 1, back on your knees. 2, back on your knees. 3, back on your knees. You're competing against yourself and your performance yesterday. That's it. Doesn't matter how many you can do. If you keep on doing this every day, in any shape or form that you're doing, incorporate it there. With the cat scratch. It's what my dogs do. When they've been sleeping on the floor, the first thing they get up, when they get up, or Dale, yeah, both of them do it, they go back and down, and then with their legs down and stretch out. And then squat in. Keep me posted. Yeah, sweet. I'm curious to know, like I said, if it's psychosomatic, happy days. I'll get the results and won't have to think about it. But it just seems odd to me that something started last year that has never been that way before. So maybe it's all those sausage and egg McMuffins coming home to roost. I regret nothing, folks. Nothing. Yeah, I was sort of curious. The other one I can remember, they sort of had a catheter in there or something, and they pumped dye into me or something like that. I still think they use a tracer, but it's all done on the CT instead. Anyway, crank out some more, 2, 3. By cranking out some more, I meant push-ups, folks. Keep your mind out of the gutter, geez. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh. Mate, one thing that I've learned in nearly 20 years of working in healthcare is that doctors lately are only ever as good as the diagnostics tools that they're using. Think about that, right? AI now is outperforming the absolute top cancer oncology specialists in detecting people who have cancers, right? So a machine picks it up from the documentation and from the forms that have been filled out by the patients from the GPs before they go to the specialist, and have a better probability of picking up if the person has cancer or not. So doctors can be like, yeah, you're a hypochondriac, get lost. And that's fair enough, because most people are. And go to the doctors, they're like, I hit my thumb, help me. And it's just like, God, you idiot. But I only go to the doctors when I need something because I know something's wrong, and I think something's wrong. And you know, I'm still the guns of the Navarone as far as things go, but just, you know, when you're off and you know it. So I should be all right. Anyway, feeling a bit of blood pumping through my chest, spreading those fingers, tense in the butt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This strengthens your hands and strengthens your forearms. That's the best thing about this wire grip. When you're ever going to push something like this, you're going to grab it and you're going to push something. You're going to use your fingers. They're going to be part of it. You'll incorporate more of your muscles and coordinate everything a lot better if you really have a solid base. So you're spreading your fingers and it will engage your forearms, give you more stability for the rest of your push-ups as well. The one that you sent that you were going to go or get for your missus, should I just use that one? It was pretty expensive. It was like $1,200 or something like that. The sort of the mid-tier one, which I think looked like is the one that I would be interested in. Oh yeah, that's right, my Nebula Genomics, that's the one. Oh wait, you wished you'd use B2B rather than DTC. Okay. Yeah, okay. I'll double check that one then. It seems like a good idea. I was really interested in the diet side of things as well. Anyway, 28 minutes on the clock, minute and a half left. Let's bust out some push-ups. I'm going to go check out that whilst watching Andor. Should have one, $300, okay. Yes. Yeah, if my angio's bad, maybe they will supplement it. yeah, quick, make it happen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got 10 more in me, then I'm out of here, folks. And so should you be. Off to your day in the UK. My sister sent me a message. She's somewhere cruising around London. It's my mum's birthday today. She's over in New Zealand. And hanging with the hounds. Hanging with Uncle Gordo. Genomics team, anyways. Get the results quicker through them, even though, look, you get what you pay for. I pay for all this stuff because you just wait lists, the Medicare system. I said 10 years ago, Medicare has 15 years before it collapses in Australia. That's 5 years away, and I reckon 5 years will be cutting it fine. I think too many private clinics and too many bulk build doctors' practices are just rotting the living bejesus out of the system, let alone all the private health providers that are selling, you know, consumables for 10 times what they should be. So sadly, that's not going to happen, but, you know, people cut corners on healthcare. That's where I spend most of my money, because what good is it when you're dead? Saving all your money for death? That's a great idea, folks. I was spelling it. Yes, exactly, man. The ultimate investment. Exactly. Yes, man. You get it, bro. That's beautiful, man. That's exactly it. It's just like, hey, instead of watching some girl in a bubble bath and buying her bath water like people do on Twitch, why not build your own character for 15 minutes a day that will stay with you for the rest of your life, reduce your healthcare costs, improve your mental health, improve your sleep, make you look better. Like I said, there's so many different reasons as to why to get it. So I'm loving it, man, and that's why, short and sweet. Look, 10 more and let's get out of here. But that's exactly right, man. You're a legend. I knew that you would be all over it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I smell like grease, dogs, and sweat. So that's time for me to go, folks. Love you, Ben. Take it easy, mate. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.